Yep, Table Mountain. Which one, big or little?
Big.
Big, very good. So that's big as Table Mountain. And how was that one formed? Okay.
Lava.
Lava. Okay. And how was Little Table Mountain formed?
Glaciers.
Okay, very good. What community are we looking at?
Foothill Woodland.
Foothill Woodland? Oak Woodland?
Sorry, I missed it. This is big or little?
That's big.
Okay. How can you tell?
Basically by the rocks. The cliff is pretty intact and pretty solid looking. For Little Table Mountain, it's much more eroded looking. And plus, the easiest way is I don't have a good picture of Little Table Mountain.
And you said it was Foothill Woodland, right?
Now, what?
Foothill Woodland?
Foothill Woodland, yes.
Okay.
And what's this plant?
Jimson.
Chimson weed, okay. And what was it used for by the Native Americans?
Trips.
Religious
Hallucinogens.
experience. Is it good to eat?
No.
They consider it poisonous, but it's only, it's not gonna, well, it can kill you, but more likely to make you sick. And what tree is that? Foothill pine, great pine, bigger pine, whatever you want to call it. And we'll see another one of those in the scientific name of that today. What tree is that? Valley oak. Those trees, is the valley oak a native tree or an introduced tree?
Native.
Native. How about the bigger pine?
Native.
Native, okay. There are leaves of valley oak. And I guess some of you saw these little things in the leaves. I didn't notice them. I was trying to go fast at that point. But if you saw these little deals down there, those are leaf galls. So they're just like the bark galls, except the different species of wasp makes them. And there the bark galls are. And what kind of symbiosis is this? Commensalism, correct. What does a wasp get out of it?
Place to live things.
Place to live and food, yep. Basically, its full existence takes place in the gall. This we kind of saw at a distance. This is tree tobacco, it's up close. And looking at this picture, which direction, of the four major compass directions, is this slope facing?
North.
Which way?
North?
How do you know?
Because it has the most trees.
Yeah, because it's got the upper community on it. So here's, this community is higher than this community, and this community is going down that slope, and that's facing north. So pretty obviously, in which direction is this opposite facing slope facing?
South.
South.
Do we need to know which communities there?
You should. So which community is this?
Foothill Woodland.
Nope.
Chaparral.
Chaparral, yeah. This is the remnants of Foothill Woodland. It's pretty well dried up. I'm going to say something else about it. Oh, how are physical conditions different here compared to the same elevation here? So over here, tell me 2 or 3 ways this is different from this.
There's more water in the air.
More what?
More water.
More water?
Less direct sunlight.
Less sunlight? What about the temperature?
It's cooler.
Cooler, yeah. Okay, so cooler, wetter, shadier, hotter, drier, sunnier. On this rock, we have an ecological process taking place. The steps of the process are rock, lichen, moss, grass. What is the name of that process?
Succession.
Succession, primary succession. Okay, and what type of symbiosis is taking place in lichen?
Obligate mutualism.
Obligate mutualism. And the 2 organisms that make up the lichen are?
Bacteria and fungi.
Algae and fungi.
Algae and fungi.
Okay. What's the name of this community along the riverbank? Streamside Woodland, or the official technical name is riparian zone. Okay, and then if I were this district, I could also ask you, negative effects of building the dam across the river, what is it, what bad things does it do? And what are some answers to that? So how does it affect fish populations in the river?
Lowers them.
Lost migration of salmon. Makes reproduction above the dam in the lake itself difficult. Floods the riparian zone above the dam. Causes a little bit of erosion down from the dam because it doesn't get that yearly flooding and causes a sediment every year. So basically, and it changes the river here quite dramatically. We didn't talk about that, but normally the San Joaquin River, by the time it gets down to Fryan, should be a pretty warm, sluggish river, laden with a bunch of sediments that should start to fall out at that point. But since this water comes out of the bottom of the dam, it's much colder, and all the sediment that was in it has fallen out in the lakes behind the dam. So it's much clearer and much colder than it normally would be. And so that alters the fish population that likes to live there. Now, but that doesn't really matter anymore because the fish population is so screwed up by introduction and stuff that it's not right. But there are trout in the river below the dam, and there not normally be trout there at all. Should be way too warm, way too devoid of oxygen for trout. What are those? Hog wallows. And what causes them?
We don't know.
Nobody knows. That's a good answer. It's always nice to be able to say, don't know as an answer and get it right. What's that building?
Historic courthouse.
Yeah, this is the Fryan Courthouse in Bizarro world, where everything's reversed in their image. And so you guys know all the history of that, right? Millerton was a town that's under the lake now, et cetera, et cetera. Native or introduced that grass?
Native.
Native. Perennial or annual?
Perennial.
Perennial.
No. Yeah.
Bunch grass or turf sod forming grass?
Bunch.
Bunch. What's that little green plant? Duckweed. And the other one, we didn't see this other one. This is water fern, Zola. And it must have all washed away, or maybe rise just going too fast at that point. So
Can you point to the water fern again?
the water fern?
Yeah.
Water fern is the sort of reddish looking one.
Okay.
And it's kind of an interesting little plant because it's kind of like a lichen. It has a chamber inside of it that's colonized by blue-green algae. And blue-green algae does fix nitrogen in the heterocyst, and so it actually fertilizes the aquatic environment for plants and makes it better for the fern, but also better for all other plants. And people that grow rice, in rice paddies, they like to see that azolla because it adds fertilizer to their field. They're just some azolla and duckweed in its natural habitat. What was the purpose of those holes?
To grind acorns.
Right, acorns. Okay. And are those naturally formed or did people make those?
People made them.
We got two plant, well, we got a plant we saw and a plant we will see here. So this tree, leaves look like that. So we didn't see a good example of this on the lake because it was semi-dead. And what this is, anybody know what that is? You had it for flora and fauna, I think, the first week.
Is it alder?
Alder. That's an alder. And then behind it here, this is one we'll see today, this is spice bush. We'll see that very plant today. And it gets some nice red flowers on it, but it won't have the red flowers on it in the fall. So it's going to just look like a plant with nice glossy dark green leaves. Okay, what's this little plant up here? Mistletoe. What type of symbiotic relationship is this? Parasitic. And what does mistletoe take from the tree?
Nutrients.
Nutrients and water. Does it take any food from the tree? Well, nutrients are like fertilizer. So basically, is it tapped into the xylem and the phloem, or just into the xylem? So even though it's green, it takes both food and water. So it can do photosynthesis, but it can't support itself. So it steals food from the tree as well as water. And you can see the effect of it on the tree from about the point where the mistletoe hooks on, up from there, the tree is not doing very well. And ultimately it'll kill it. And what kind of tree is this? The leaves look like that. What's that?
Ash tree?
Nope.
Cottonwood?
Cottonwood. Leaves look like a spade in a playing card, vaguely. Rock back and forth in the wind real easily. And what zone does this cottonwood indicate? What plant community? And that was one of our 4 riparian indicating trees. So, indicates riparian zones. How about this one? Now I want to say the one you said before.
Ash tree?
Ash tree. And also a riparian indicator? How about those gray bushes? Willows? And there's actually a bunch of willows out there, so. These are sandbar willows, this is a lemon willow, this is more of a normal looking tree. But they're all willows and they're all riparian indicators. And again, we didn't get a chance to talk about this, but what sort of medicine can you get from willows? What do you know? Aspirin. Oh, she did? Yeah, so aspirin's in the bark, so you can shave the bark off, boil it, and you have aspirin tea. Or if you're really tough, you can just chew the bark. I don't know. That would be.
If you're having a heart attack,
Me, if you're having a heart attack, get your pocket knife out, shave the bark off, and chew it.
Don't you get that vinegar?
What's that?
Don't you get that vinegar?
Vinegar to a distraction?
Like acetic acid? So,
Well, yeah, to make it actually into aspirin, you get salicylic acid from the bark, but you don't get acetylsalicylic acid, so you get a semi-aspirin, I guess. Both the Chinese and the Native Americans use willow bark as a cold remedy for pains and aches. But they did shave it off ahead of time and carry it around as old medicine. Willow leaves. Hey, what tree is this?
Is that a eucalyptus?
Chinese tree of desert? Native or introduced?
Introduced.
Introduced.
Introduced. And here's a baby one showing the leaves. So the leaves are big pinnately compound leaves. So they kind of are, well, they look a lot like walnut leaves, actually. Well, you guys didn't see any walnut trees, so you can't make a mistake with that. Okay. And is this, being an exotic species, is a good thing to have around or bad?
Bad.
Bad. Why are exotic species bad, just in general?
Competition. Takes.
Yeah, you gotta keep saying competition. So competition is kind of right, but why do,
Takes the nutrients in the water.
so that's exactly what it takes, nutrients, but is not fed on by anything. But why are exotic species, species that are foreign to the area, how can they outcompete native species that evolved and were custom designed by evolution?
Because the animals don't eat them from around here because they don't know what
Yeah,
to do with them.
Exotic ones are free from their control. They have no predators, they have no diseases. So without their natural controls, if they can survive at all, they survive really well. Here's another little tree to identify, so the leaves and stuff up close and personal. So what tree is this one?
Those ones with the spots in them.
What?
The live oak.
Live oak, yep, interior live oak, there's an acorn right there. Is this a deciduous tree? No, evergreen. Hey, this one we saw at a distance across the lake. But you guys had this in Florida Pond, blue oak. The blue oak. And there's blue oak leaves. And they, do they look blue to you guys?
No.
The blueness is semi-imaginary, I guess.
When they did that.
What?
When they did that.
Well, it's, when it's really water stressed in the fall, like this time of year, the leaves are kind of, we'll see one today, but it's been irrigated, so it may not be very good. But it's not a nice grass green. Okay, what plant do you think that one is? You didn't see it blooming, but you did see it. In the native plant garden? Named after a place on the coast? Carpinteria. It's a pretty nice looking plant. The flowers are big, and the flowers are probably 4 inches across. This one, well, this was growing out in the garden out there. But this particular one of the student helpers thought it was a weed, and it wasn't blooming, and tore it out of the ground. But we planted another one at a different location. It hasn't, I don't think it's bloomed yet. Hey, what are these trees? There's the leaf, foliage. These are deodar cedars?
Yeah.
Where are they native to? Where? Himalayas, northern India, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Armenia. Are they, is this considered an invasive exotic?
Yes.
Oh, it's exotic, but it's not
Not
invasive.
invasive.
Like, this is like, at least in California, like the Chinese tree of heaven, they have to get water or they won't grow. They can't go wild. But in, probably in other parts of the country, farther north, you might have some invasive deodars. And like I said, Chinese tree of heaven, once you get probably to mid-Kansas, then it grows like crazy. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, if you saw it, but when we left the lake, going up that hill, there was a whole bunch of them growing in the forest on the right-hand side of the road as you go up that hill coming out of the lake, because there's a drain field from the houses up there, and just that little bit of extra water allows them to grow. But deodars, I've never seen deodars growing wild in California. There's just mistletoe up close and personal. Now here's some stuff that was on your list that we didn't see because it wasn't blooming. So these next 4 plants are going to be new to you. So this is baby lupin, or miniature lupin they call it sometimes now, because I guess baby lupin sounds too stupid. So, this is lupinus bicolor, and you can tell it because first of all it's really small, so the whole plant is maybe a foot tall, but usually slightly less than a foot. The flowers are tiny, so the flower stalks are maybe 2 or 3 inches tall. Each flower a quarter to 1.5 inch long. But like all lupins, it gets pea pods for the fruit, and it has a compound palmately compound leaf, looks like a open hand.
So this isn't the same as the one that we saw, it was more like a tree that had the pea buds?
Oh yeah, that was red bud. That was a different one. But they're both in the pea family. And so this is another lupin. This one is called a whole bunch of names: spider lupin or Bentham's lupin. Not the scientific name is Lupinus bentami. So Bentham's lupin is a way to remember 2 things with one memory. Spider lupin because of the narrowness of the leaves down here, but also narrow leaf lupin because of the narrowness of the leaves. This one's much bigger, so this one will grow to about maybe waist high, but it's totally herbaceous, no woody parts to it. Flower stalk, from where the flowers start blooming up to here, is probably about 10, 12 inches. The flowers obviously are kind of dark blue, and the top of the inflorescence, up here, the top of the spike, is white initially, and then it turns blue as it matures. And that's kind of important stuff. No, because you gotta tell it from this one, which is bush lupin, or the Pinus albifrons. And in this particular picture, the flowers look quite purple, but they can look fairly blue as well. But if you notice the tops, they're colored all the way to the top. There's no white tip on them. And the base of this is woody. It's definitely a woody, bushy plant. Has a lifespan of probably 25 to 30 years.
Was lavender part of this one?
No. Yeah, the flowers look similar, but I'm pretty sure, almost certain lavender is not a peat. It doesn't get little peat pods on it, does it?
What was the name of this one?
Okay, this one is bush lupin, and this one is either Bentham's lupin, narrowleaf lupin, or spider lupin. And then common names of these are in your handout, on your handout. And then lastly, we have this one, which is really hard to remember. This is white lupin. And it's not hard for you guys because this is the only white lupin we've got, but there are other white lupins. But this one, I know the name is Lupinus densiflorus, and it does something really weird when the flowers get pollinated. Here's a fresh flower stalk, and here's a fresh flower stalk. And the top of this one may not have been pollinated. See how the flowers are spiraling around the stem there? But down here, once they're pollinated and the fruit forms, all the pea pods migrate to the top of the stems. Just on the top, none of them hang down to the bottom. And why they do that, nobody's really sure if that's just a way that's presenting the pods to birds, for the birds to eat so they can get spread around, or some other reason. Human beings can't eat those pea pods, they'll poison you. But animals can, and they also will not germinate unless they're treated really neat. So they've got to be eaten by an animal, or you have to put it in really hot water, some gravel in a jar, and swirl it around, and scrape it, or get a pocket knife and scrape away at the peat and the seed coat, put it in, soak it in hot water for a while. So they're very resistant to being germinated without having previously been eaten and passing through an animal's digestive tract. And that is, okay, so we'll go on to